filled and happy from the luncheon. I just wanted to make something quick note that because of it being titled being recruitment, they didn't update the title. It is on recruitment, but it's on recruitment for SVA chapters. Okay? So I just want to make that perfectly clear because I have people actually asking me, like, is this like job recruitment or is this SVA chapter recruitment? What's that? Or military recruitment? Yeah, no. We had a problem with our presentation, but basically the majority of what we will discuss is straight from the SVA's website. Oh, that's fine. So as I said before, this is on SVA chapter recruitment and growth. There's a lot of challenges and successes that we face as chapter leaders when it comes to growing our chapters, and a lot of failures that we also face as well doing that too. I'm just going to introduce myself real quick. My name's Stephen Montesantos. I am a Marine Corps veteran. I was an aviation ordnance systems technician. By the way, were my Marines at the Three Bridges bar last night? We were singing the chant last night. That was fun. Yep. Good old devil dogs. Put them in a bar and they get a little rowdy all together. It's a little dangerous. Like I said, Marine Corps veteran, aviation ordnance systems technician. I was a collateral duty inspector for 4 glorious years, and then got out and decided to go straight into college, where I joined Nassau Community College, and I ended up starting as their marketing coordinator for the SVA chapter there. And then eventually I ended up becoming the president of the SVA chapter there, and ended up through the work and service that I did for the chapter and the community, was awarded the Distinguished Service Award from the college himself. After graduating with my associates from Nassau Community College, I moved over to Pace University in New York City, and that's where I also continued my involvement with the SVA chapter and the veteran community, and now I'm filling a chapter advisor role for them. During my time there, for my bachelor's degree, I moved on to start my master's degree. I actually just finished my master's degree 2 weeks ago, where I was working for Viacom CBS doing marketing activation for Nickelodeon and ad sales. Now I'm going to introduce my co-host, Joey Bonilla.
Hi everybody, how is everybody doing today? So a little bit about myself. This is unscripted. The similarities that Stephen and I have are uncanny. So myself as well, I am a Army vet. I joined from 2016 February up until the middle of summer for 2019. I was honored enough to do my one tour in Germany and met amazing people who I still talk to with today. After leaving the Army, I went straight into Nassau Community College, ironically enough, and I became the chapter president. There was about a year to year and a half gap between when Stephen left and when I came on as the acting role for presidency. Afterwards, leaving NCC, I came into PACE at the beginning of January of 2021. Immediately took the presidency role for the chapter president, and have since just talked with our student vets what some things that they need, some things that they want, and how we could just build a better cohesiveness between the community. Because at the end of the day, that's what we are, is a community for all. For our student vets, our community, our dependents, our siblings, all in all, we are all under the same roof. So today we're going to talk about some ways to build upon the relationships that you might already have. If you're a new chapter, how to establish some, and just everything that is in between. So first and foremost, I want to apologize. I had a really nice PowerPoint set up, and I don't know where it is, so I apologize. So we're going to have to scroll. But the first thing that we should talk about is what is a relationship? What kind of relationships are there regarding your chapters? Because there are different, all chapters are different from one another. The chapter that Stephen and I were a part of in Nassau Community College, thriving sense of establishment within the military community, and our local chapter for Pace University is also thriving, but not to the extent to what it was before. And there are some similarities that will be talked upon later on as to why that is the way it is. So we could just go ahead to the first bullet point. I mean, you said bullet point, just right under the video. Right, perfect. Relationships with schools. Perfect. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. So the relationship with schools are probably the most important one that we can have, because the SVA is a organization within our school. How do we identify what is and isn't needed for our community? Some attributes that can easily be attributed to this would be the chapter leader and how they attain their role. Did they volunteer? Were they elected in? Or is there a student body that has an active role into how it is that they want to elect their elected officials, president, vice president, treasurer, secretary, social media monitor, so on and so forth. It comes down to when the personnel are on board, chapters and its mission both identify and reach directly with student veterans on campus. It becomes easier and you can grow the pool of potential candidates through simply just connections with your campus. You can take the next one.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm just going to chime off the website a little bit. Just kind of curious, who's here from a community college?
Or attended one ever.
Or attended one, party chapter? Okay, if one of you want to answer, what is your current chapter status right now? How many active members do you have currently?
Anybody?
Anyone want to answer that?
So we're college education in Monroe, Illinois, and including our 2 staff members, there's 5 of us.
There's 5 members, okay. Now, and do you know, and you have access to the whole master list of veterans that go to your school? That's kind of what I figured. So a lot of the issue that we've had and what I've seen a lot with a lot of other community colleges or even just regular colleges themselves is that the students of the that are running the chapters don't have access to these masters lists, and they should. You should know how many veterans are attending your school, and you should get that from your VA liaison because they're going to have all that information. So once you get the list, then you'll know how many veterans, like Nassau Community College for one. We were an active chapter of probably about 20 active members, but Nassau Community College itself had 200 veterans currently enrolled for the year. So now it's like, where are all the veterans? Why are they not coming to the SVA chapter? So once you get that master list, it kind of helps with that. And now it comes the part of how do you get these veterans to now come to the SVA chapter? How do you get them enrolled in it? How do you get them to become more active? The biggest thing, pizza parties. I'm joking, but kind of not actually joking, because at Nassau we had, at every single meeting we had pizza, and at every single meeting we had a full roster of all of our active members coming to it. Once we stopped giving the pizza, our numbers kind of dwindled. I don't know why, that's just the nature of the beast, but, but having food at your meetings is probably one thing you can start with. But also getting more involved and making sure that you have the full support of your university behind you. You should have a staff member that is also, you'll have probably a student chapter advisor, but you should also have a staff member advisor as well. Nassau Community College, we had Joseph Muscarella, who was the director of facilities over there, and he was our advisor, basically our chief, our big leader, and he helped a lot with with our chapter growth. So if you're struggling with numbers in your chapter, make sure that you get with a strong, preferably high up there, a staff member of the school to help you out. Syracuse University does it a little differently. They have Richard Jones. Is that anyone here from Syracuse? Okay. Well, I don't know why you're here. Your chapter is the model figure of SVA. I'm joking though. But you have Richard Jones, which is one of their biggest advocates. I've worked with Rich Jones at Viacom CBS, and he is the most motivating man you can find, and he will step out of his way any day and night to go help the needs of the veterans up at Syracuse. So whether it's a staff member at your college or a executive of a company that just wants to get involved and help veterans at your chapter, both will work fine.
Okay. We can go to the next one, please. Perfect. So we're going to talk touch upon a couple different things. So we talked about what kind of relationships do you need. Stephen identified you want to hire personnel out there. It's a little vague. Let's try to get a little more in depth.
SGA.
So, I'm sorry?
SGA also.
Yes. So school certifying officials, SEOs are probably the best people to communicate with first and foremost, because they are the people at the end of the day that's pushing through the paperwork so that we get paid, so that our schools get paid, so we can attend them. They are a liaison that can be leveraged to battle on your behalf if you're trying to push something through. If your SVA isn't necessarily that connected with your president, your vice president, or anybody that's just of the administrative staff for your local university or community college. They are probably, in my personal opinion, ironically enough, my SEO is here today. They have a wealth of knowledge that they just want to share with you, and that they want to bring you in, so that way whatever you soak up, you can distribute the knowledge that you've gotten from them to give to others. Because at the end of the day, we just want to succeed for ourselves, and we want to everybody to our left and our right to succeed. Because at the end of the day, we've got our back, you've got our 6, and we've got your 12. So can we go? So Student Veterans Center staff is a really nice way of saying just a vet house. So our Nassau Community College, when we attended, Stephen actually was probably one of the first people to establish our veteran house there, and it can be used for an array of different opportunities. You can hold your weekly, semi-weekly meetings there, host any recruiting events you want to have, any mixers with any other school organizations. If you're trying to get a sponsor from like a local community, whether it's like a local Chevy dealership or like a local food bank, whomever it may be, that is a prime opportunity to hold it. Now, it's rare to have a dedicated space for just student veterans, because most universities don't have the funding or the capability to allot just this space is for SVA, student veterans, and that's it. The more common approach is you would get like a room that you have during club hours or common hours. How do you maximize that hour in which that you're trying to get an agenda talked upon, talk about previous motions, bring new motions up, and just have a cohesive dialogue without feeling like anybody is rushed, or if somebody wants to ask a question without silencing them, because we want everyone to be involved. The way to maximize when you are allotted only a certain space for a certain amount of time is to essentially, this might sound ironic, but just create an itinerary. So we only have this amount of time. We know if we're trying to talk about past issues that aren't satisfied to the extent that we want them to be, it could take 10, 15, 20 minutes. If you only have an hour, hour and a half, depending on what your school's common hours are, you want to allow the bulk of what you're going to talk about in that meeting to be brought up for like middle of the conversation, more towards the end for the more important things. So, and when you end your meetings, you can end it with overview of what's already been conducted, and more importantly, if you have the itinerary conducted correctly, you know what you're going to talk about next meeting. So let people, we are going to talk about the recruitment, how we've networked, and so on and so forth, and that will all be brought up in the next meeting. So that way, if people have questions, they have up until whenever the next meeting is, whether it's a week, 2 weeks, whatever it may be, on your university or community college. That's a phenomenal way of just trying to get people engaged. Now, addition to that is people forget things. I forget things. If I could get an Olympic sport medal for how many things I forget, I'd probably win the gold medal, I promise. Send out weekly emails. Send out like, hey, this is our email, this is for the week, this is what we're gonna talk about. And then at the end of the week, after the meeting's already been done, if the meeting's in the middle of the week, send a reminder email. Hey guys, our next meeting is so on and so forth. We are going to talk about A through Z. That is a phenomenal way to, once again, to get it into, to plant the seed, if you will. And then you planted the seed at the end of your first meeting. You sending your email is just watering the seed, and hopefully what will blossom from it are the questions or inputs that everybody will have to collectively put together. Can we go up a little further? Yes, students like staff. You want to take this?
No, you can take this.
All right, fantastic.
I guess I want to do other.
Okay, fantastic. So many chapters are governed by students, like student affair offices, the staff, and these offices are invaluable resources, not simply to help recruit student veterans, their families, and allies into the chapter, but to engage the mission-driven and the student-centric programming. For example, the Office of Student Lives at Tallahassee Community College provides an opportunity for students to get involved, develop enhanced leadership skills, and provide support services to assist students while getting the most out of their college experience. So for Pace University, we were able to hold one event over this past semester, which was in light of the 20th anniversary for 9/11. So I sent out I had too many emails to count of how many people would be interested to participate in the 20th anniversary Tunnel to Towers 5K, where it was through the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel. I forget the gentleman's name that ran, I'm sorry? I appreciate you. Thank you so very much. He put on all of his gear, ran through the tunnel to warn everybody about what was happening. So I'm very proud to say that I was able to participate in this past event. So how did I reach everybody? Because as we've already discussed, student veterans, SVAs, don't have access to the distro that we should have access to. So what we do in PACE is we separate students from student veterans, siblings, dependents, anybody utilizing VA benefits, whether it's Chapter 31, 33, or 35. If you are utilizing any of those, if you check the little veteran box on the application box, you are automatically put onto like a veteran services mainframe. So from there, we separate the incoming students, and we have a University 101 for everybody. That is a mandatory course, like freshman orientations, what can you expect, so on and so forth. We have all that, but we have, in addition, we have Veteran University 101. So everything that's in the the University 101 we have, in addition to, we make it a point to let everybody know what benefits are available, because people don't know what they don't know until they know it. So how do you get that across? You make it a point to like, okay guys, Chapter 33, post 9/11 is probably the most marketable tool that you have to your discretion, because you don't have to get VA approval to use it other than going through a VA approved school. If you're going through Chapter 31, you have a counselor that you talk with, and you have to get an approved degree plan. The same with Chapter 35, but it's not as cumbersome as 31. But the point is, Chapter 33 is your nest egg, and you want to save it until you don't have to anymore, and you choose when you want to use it. So it's bestowing the knowledge that there are other ways out there to access school aside from Chapter 33. There's a vast, I probably wouldn't have enough time to get through the list. There's just so many programs that are available to student veterans, dependents, siblings. It's not just student veterans alone, because at the end of the day, like I said, when we opened, we are all one. We're all one community. We all want others to succeed. And the best way to do that, knowledge. Knowledge is the best power. Regardless if we're talking about recruiting, trying to market yourself for a job opportunity, just whenever the opportunity may be, knowledge is power, and you will always succeed if you have a vast amount of it. Can we go up a little further more, please? So I think this is probably this isn't touched upon too much, but this is probably the most important part. Your president or for your university or your community college, they're the head honcho, to put it simply. How do you maximize your exposure to events that you're going to hold while having a good rapport? The president is probably the best person to do that with. Any president of any institution, regardless if it's a community college, Ivy League, or anything in between, they want all organizations to succeed. If you're holding an event, try your best to do it well enough in advance, so that way you can shoot out a message to the appropriate person to try and get not only the president, but as many people of the upper administrative staff that you can to attend this event. One, that shows that they care if they show face. Two, it makes for a better cohesionness between the veterans. It shows that the university approves of them and the mission that they're trying to establish. Every university has a different mission, but at the end of the day, the mission is to succeed. And we succeed as a team, because I've got your 6 and you've got my 12. And they want nothing more for us all other than to, once again, succeed. Can we go up more, please? That's perfect. So member engagement and recruitment, why we're all here. Um, the success and stability of chapters relies entirely on its membership. The chapter president, could have a close relationship with the university president, but without a chapter membership, the student veterans, their families, and allies participating and benefiting from the chapter programs, there is no chapter. So I can give you a perfect example of what I mean by this to just symbolize. Before COVID, of Pace University, we had a relatively good student veteran outlook. We have 3 campuses in total, but for our New York City campus, we have about 400, round off, 400 student veterans that are identified. Of that, we only have like an outreach of active members, maybe 10. Why is that though? That's not acceptable. The problem is student veterans, by definition, are non-traditional students. As Jared stated yesterday, the average range is 25 to 35. Although there are some lower and some higher. Jared even stated that there's a 65-year-old who I got to meet, whose name is escaping me. Wonderful, wonderful gentleman. It's just to show, by us being non-traditional students, we don't fall into the normalities of your typical day-to-day students. You want to engage them in a way that they're going to reach out, know that you're there for anything. How do you do that? First and foremost, you create an in-house distro. If you're holding the best way to do that, one of the easiest things to do is orientation. Hold an orientation just for students hosted by your veteran services and just push it out as much as you can. And everybody that attends, just have them do a check-in, name, phone number, email, and preferred method of contact. And whenever you want to host an event, whether it's a game night, night to talk about benefits, potential sponsor, or a sponsor that wants to talk about hosting for job interviews, potential, or it's a mock interview, the gambit, you can run the gambit with it. But you're just giving yourself the ability to just have another resource at your disposal, because if you have the resource, you have the ability to execute on it. And member engagement, there are many ways to engage with chapter members. No 2 chapters are alike. So engagement strategies can be alike. Chapter leaders must meet their memberships where they are. And that is, they must communicate to members to ensure relevant and effective programming as well. Some chapters create chapter surveys that they can distribute out at the beginning, middle, or the end of the semester. I've found that it's best to do a beginning and an end. You do the beginning to see, hi guys, introduce yourself. Hi, my name is Joseph Alexander Bonilla. I am the president of Pace University for the SVA for the New York City campus. My goals for this semester would be to strengthen community ties that we held, strengthen our local community ties, and what are some ways in which we could benefit both you and our community. Are there any events that you would like to hold? Are there any things that you would like to see the SVA do? Is there something that we can do? Is there something we can sponsor? You never know unless you ask. A closed mouth doesn't get fed. There's one thing that the military taught us is resiliency is one of the best things that were instilled in us. We never accept no as an answer. We do what we told, and we execute it to the best of our abilities. And once the mission is done, we wait to be told what is next. But I would challenge you all not to wait, not even wait until after the task that you were given is done. I would challenge you to find out something that truly you have a drive that you want. You have a goal that you want to succeed in. You have this idolization of an example that you want. I can give you a prime example. So I took it upon myself to reach out to a local community organization that provides disabled veterans guaranteed job placements. And they do other things also. They run the gambit in terms of services that they offer. Another service that they offer is free training for anyone that's in tech, is CCNA, which is a Cisco certification, network administration. Fantastic cert, very, very hard, but they offer free training, and they also offer free job placement as well. So local community ties are essential if you want to have a thriving chapter, because you can only hold the position you hold while you're in school. What happens after you're gone? You came in to the role from somebody else. You're going to leave eventually. Who's going to take the reins when you leave? You always, one of the few things that the Army, well, I'm talking a lot of things, one of the few things I took away from the Army was no matter where you go, no matter where the mission is, you always want to leave it better than you arrived. That's a mantra that I try to live by. For myself, I have 1 semester left in PACE before I graduate. So my goal for PACE is to, one, better the student veteran community and establish a pipeline. How do we establish job placements for student veterans in a way that is non-traditional, just like all student veterans are non-traditional? So that's the goal I am currently working on. And I would also, can we just go up a little bit more, please? To the top of that. Perfect. This might sound a little silly, but creating a recruitment pitch, very similar to an elevator pitch. We all have those down. I'm sure everybody's given their elevator pitch probably like 10, 20 times already, and it's only day 2. You want to know what you're doing, what the goal is, and how do you establish it. So for PACE, hi, my name is Joseph Alexander Bonilla. We are looking to enroll at least 15 more student veterans this semester. We would love to get 30, but our goal is to get 15. Set a number, set a goal, and execute. The difference between a dream and a goal. A dream is something you want. A goal is something you want, and you make achievable steps to obtain your goal. Goals are possible. Anything you set your mind to is possible.
So your recruitment has to start at the beginning of the semester. You have to find, and what we've talked about in a lot around this NatCon is imposter syndrome. Because there are vets that are going to your college that don't feel like they belong or don't feel like they should be joining the SVA for whatever reasons it may be. So you have to make sure that you create a space to where veterans can meet and gather and get the information that they need to succeed. So one thing you can do about this is have a veteran meet and greet right in the beginning of the semester. And then that way you can get all their contact information, then you can start shooting out your email blasts to start making sure they get the information for all the meetings and to become part of the SVA chapter. All colleges are different, no chapter is the same, and we do have there's not one line equation that you can put in to help increase your numbers. So what I want to do is I want to hear from some of you, some of the successes and challenges that you face with growing your chapter. So if anyone would like to come up to the mic, then we can have a little discussion.
Open dialogue.
Yep.
Hey guys, thank you. This is really great. My name is Jill Wolf. I'm from Grand Valley State University, and if you were in the luncheon, our president was up there talking. Yeah, and so there was somebody here from Syracuse. We're gunning for you. We're coming. Grand Valley is working really hard to build our chapter. We have 9 students that came to this conference.
How many veterans are enrolled in the university?
I think this semester we have about 250.
Okay, and only 9 active members?
No, only 9 came to the conference.
Only 9 came to NatCon, sorry.
Yeah, well, so, and I just texted the president to see like about how many do we have enrolled in SVA, and a lot of things you guys were saying has been really helpful for us. Get them early, because once they start getting into schoolwork and everything, they've started to make other commitments, and I heard it said in another session that veterans hate to not be able to come through on their commitments. So if they can't do it, they'll tell you, which is honorable, kind of when you think about it. But one of the ways that we do it is I have a really good, so I should say I was a student veteran and now I'm a chapter advisor.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
And one of the ways that we do it is that I have a really good relationship with admissions, and I have sent them over a little blurb that when they come across a veteran who's been admitted, like, hey, can you just put this in the email to them? And it's the link to sign up for SVA.
Admissions is your best friend
Yeah.
when it comes to recruitment, absolutely.
They want these students to be successful, and if you can, get them in early and connect them with.
Even what we've done, what our admissions has done at Nassau Community College is that when there's a veteran coming in, new student to the college, and they get, you get a little folder, it has all the introductory pamphlets and stuff like that for the college and what's on there, where the food court is, whatever it may be. If they're a veteran, try to get your admissions to also put in your flyer for your SVA chapter. So that way they get it and they're getting it right away even before the semester starts.
Yeah, absolutely. Ask if you can go to their staff meeting and just like have 5 minutes to present. I would say the same thing with advising too. The advisors have been really great with us. Whenever they come across a vet who hasn't been connected, they'll send them our way. You made a joke about pizzas earlier, and it's funny, we have pizza at our meetings, and it doesn't, sometimes it works, but I'll tell you, I actually heard this from the vet advisor over at OU at Oklahoma University, like, have a cookout. Like,
Yeah.
nothing will get vets
We-
out there quicker than a
At the
cookout.
end of every semester, we would hold a veterans cookout. Now, when I was there, we ended up extending the invite to all of the SGA club leaders, and that's actually something I want to talk about. Is your chapter considered a club of the school?
I don't think so. That's not a term I'm familiar
That's
with.
definitely something you should probably look into.
Oh, you mean at the university?
Yes, is it
Yes.
considered a club like you're part of
Yes,
SGA?
we're a student organization. They
Okay.
give us money to
Good.
do stuff, yeah.
So funny, Nassau Community College's SVA chapter is considered a club, and we're part of the SGA. So we go to all the student government organizations, student government meetings and everything like that, and that way we're also involved with all the rest of the campus leaders. Pace University, for some reason we're trying to fix this ourselves, is it's not. And basically what that does, it kind of segregates the chapter away from the rest of the university, so it kind of feels a little bit out of place. So if anyone in here, if your chapter isn't part of the SGA, considered a club on campus, definitely do so. Reach out to whoever you need to try to become a member.
Your advisor is the best person to talk to.
Exactly, and that way you're also getting double funding, because now you're getting the SGA budget, but you're also getting your funding from SVA as well.
Yeah.
And veteran services, you can dip. There.
Yeah, and like you said, being an office or student life night is always a good thing. As far as getting your president involved, if anybody wants to contact me after this, we had an email that, with some talking points that we used with our president, and you can see she's been at the university, I think, almost 2 years, and now like veterans are her biggest thing. She loves veterans.
Right.
And I'm happy to share that script that we use. Same thing with admissions. But you really have to get your president on board with talking about things that they care about, which is donors and GPA and graduation rates, all which vets are really, really good at bringing in. So that was something else that we used. Sorry, I took a couple notes. I wanted to say a few more things.
Okay.
We invite spouses and kids to our meetings sometimes. We can't do it all the time, but to be able to bring your spouse.
Did you read my speaking notes?
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I steal them from you? Yeah, it was, I had never thought of it before. I didn't think anyone would want to bring their spouse or kids, but it turns out because half of us are married, half of us have kids, it's so much easier for them to come to meetings if they can bring somebody with them or bring their kids.
That's another point that, like I said, what I wanted to point out is that your chapter doesn't have to be, especially if you're part of SGA, your chapter doesn't have to be just for veterans only. You can
We have
yeah,
like,
you
I
can
think, 70 students that have no
spouses,
military
veterans,
connection at all.
Even
in our club.
including students that are just supportive of the military and veterans too. We've had, Nassau Community College has had, I think, when I was there, when I was president, we had 3 other students that weren't veterans, they weren't any military related, they just were proud supporters of veterans and wanted to get involved and helped out. So definitely open up your borders and allow other students, part of your community and your college, to definitely come about and be a part of it.
Yeah, we had 2 dependents on our e-board last year, which was awesome. Nice. And then the last thing that we do that's kind of fun is that a couple times a year we'll meet at the VFW. The VFW is so excited to have post 9/11 vets. Yeah, and the beer is really affordable. We invite alumni, and it's just really laid back, and that allows people to like actually build relationships and like each other, and that's the thing that will get them to come back next time.
And do you have other colleges that you've reached out, nearby colleges that you've reached out to kind of have meet and greets with their SVA chapter as well?
I have. So we have football rivals nearby, and so we have invited them to do joint tailgates with us, which is kind of fun.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
That's the best way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Communicate with your community. Communicate with your other SVAs that are located around you. If you're not close to one, you can still communicate with them. as much as we hate the pandemic, one thing that the pandemic has provided us is we can talk to people who are in Japan, Tokyo, Germany, no matter where they are, via Zoom, virtual. That has allowed us to have the ability to communicate with anybody from anywhere. So utilize it as a resource, leverage it as a tool to bring more people into your community, even if they aren't physically next to you.
Yeah, it's like you guys said, we're all brothers and sisters here.
That's
We
it.
all have a
That's
shared
it.
experience, so the more we can connect and support each other, the better off we all are. So thanks for letting me
Thank you.
talk.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else? Oh, there we go.
There you go.
Hello.
I'm loud as is. My name is Adrian Armstrong, so I'm the president at College of DuPage in Glen Ellen, Illinois.
Yes, ma'am.
For everyone else, we're the Chicagoland area. College of DuPage actually needs everybody's advice, so if anyone has anything. So our biggest issue is fall 2021, we have 841 military-connected students. 4 of us are part of our SVA at the school. And then we have 2 staff advisors. That's it. The very few people who have came into our lounge, because we do have our own student veteran lounge, me and my VP, we sit in there.
Is it part of the main campus?
Yeah, so we have our veteran services, which is downstairs in our registration, and then we have our very own student veteran lounge. And me and my VP, we sit up there all day, so when students come in there and have any questions, or they can just meet us, we're there. And every person who has came to our lounge has said the same thing. They're like, we have an issue with commitment. And we try to explain to everyone, we don't want you to marry us, we don't want you to even commit to us, we just want you to come to one meeting so you can see what we do or hear our events, or come to just one event. We just want people to know we're here, and we want them to know that they can come to us, but every military-connected student seems to be hiding from us, so we're not sure what to do.
So there's one thing that was established. I don't know if Stephen did it or if it was the president after him. Is that better? All right, thank you. So there was one thing that Steve, I don't know if it was him or the president after him, but an amazing thing is at Nassau Community College, we had a library of textbooks that at the end of the semester that we didn't need anymore, we would just like compile on. So eventually, very quickly, we just had an array of textbooks that people could pick from. Because not everybody who's a student veteran has the GI Bill. Not everybody goes for different reasons, whomever, maybe they've utilized it and they're still trying to better themselves. Use that as a potential resource. It saves them like $40 to $100, maybe even more, depending on the subject that they're taking. I know personally for me, when I first attended SVA at Nassau Community College, the best thing first and foremost was the camaraderie. That's the thing that I missed the most about the service. It's what I still miss about the service. It's probably the only thing about the service that I miss. But the SVA has provided in tenfold what I've gotten in the Army, because as I've stated before, and I'll say it again, they've got my 6 and I've got their 12. Well, I've got your 6 and you've got my 12. We're all a family. How do you get them to be more involved? I think you have to make it easy for them. You have to make it like effortless almost. The question is, how do you do that though? So you can go about
Pizza.
Well, not even pizza.
We're doing barbecue.
Pizza is a good way to get people in the door, but how do you get them coming back? You can't get pizza every day or every meeting because it's expensive. So you just try to get good itineraries, get good things on the meeting to be discussed, whether it's, like I stated earlier, if you're trying to get acknowledge what existence is already out there in terms of benefits that are out there, military discounts that companies offer. If you can provide something that they find useful one time, I guarantee you they're going to come back, because that was me. I thought when I came back into community college, 25 years old, I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm the oldest in the class. I'm going to go in, do my thing, and I'm gone. I ended up staying. Why did I stay? Because aside from the camaraderie that I didn't even know existed at the time, they helped me establish all my VA benefits, helped me acknowledge how to start the claim for VA service connected. I'm 100% now, if anybody wants to talk, but 2 years ago, I was 0. I didn't know anything about that. I thought there was a stereotype. If you're service connected for whatever reason, you're disabled. Why? You're worse than me. I can do things you can't do, as a notion that I had beaten out of my head, because they helped me see that we are all the same, regardless of what disabilities one may have. So if you can make things effortless, provide knowledge, provide ways, you might not even know what they need to know, but if they ask you a question and be like, hey, I don't know this, but give me a couple hours, give me a day, I'll point you in the right direction, or give them a POC for someone that will give you the answer.
Right.
Help them one time, and they're gonna refer you to other people, and then themselves will come back.
That's perfect. And secondly,
Yes.
always Marine Corps.
Rah. Speaking, just to touch base back on the resources that you can bring to your chapter, there is a lot, especially in New York City. There's so many different veteran organizations out there that you can get connected with. And even though your chapter might not have the active numbers that you'd like to see, start setting these meetings. Get connected with different veteran organizations. What's up?
No, you're right.
Oh. Get connected with the different veteran organizations within your community and invite them to come to your chapter and have them, present whatever they need to present, whatever service that they're providing to veterans, whether it's the New York City Veterans Affairs Office, or whether it's getting the Long Island Vet Cares involved too. Just get them to come and start having the meetings, and then if you can't get access to that master list,
Great.
have someone that can, or create your own, start compiling it, and then have them blast out that information out to the veterans, so they can be like, oh, hey, there's this thing going on at the vet center, and it looks like it can be something that can help me out. So that's, get involved with the resources around your area. There's a lot. It may not seem like there's a lot. I didn't know that there was as many as there was in Long Island, but there is a crap ton of them, so
We're gonna talk about that.
yes.
So you can go.
Hey, how you doing? My name is Frank Carter, and I'm the president of the Student Veterans Association at the University of Michigan Dearborn. And I'd like to share a couple of things that actually have worked for us.
Absolutely, please.
So pre-COVID, one of the things that really worked for us is having meetings off-site, like not on campus. So we'd have meetings at different restaurants in different areas. And what we learned is, like you said, people like to bring their family, and didn't think about that. Also, people get tired of looking at the school.
Yes.
There's nothing there. And also, when it's off-site at a restaurant or something like that, you don't necessarily have to worry about buying food, because typically people, they'll buy their own food. You could, if you want to, put it in the budget to buy everyone their first beer, if they're of age, of course, or something like that. There you go, like an appetizer or something like that. But that actually helped a lot with getting people there. And also, at University of Michigan, we were fortunate enough to have our certifying official as our advisor. And I don't know if you guys can do that, like if you can change advisors, if you need an advisor, but that might be a good route, because like you said, that master list, know how many veterans there, that's easy. I can just say, hey, how many vets we got? Can I get the master list? Can you send this out to,
Absolutely.
That is one thing that really helped.
I know at Nassau, it was for confidentiality reasons that they couldn't give us the master list, but all we had to do was just reach out to our VA liaison and be like, hey,
Yeah.
we're having this event at the chapter. Can you send this out to all the veterans that are on campus?
Exactly.
Yep.
That's how it would go, or
Absolutely.
I can get just an email of those who are actually in the, like SVA, that are actually registered, like I can get their emails.
Right.
Constant communication is absolutely key in all this.
Exactly. One other question is, do you think that having like maybe multiple meetings on campus, if you're able to, would help? Like, for example, I'm going to start a work studies contract next year, or excuse me, this year at the university, and I'll be there.
The work studies with the VA?
Yes.
Yes, those are great.
I can talk about that.
Yeah.
I've done the VA work study since I've left the Army. So every semester, so from September of 2019 up until next semester, because it'll be my last. So aside from the knowledge that you get from doing it itself, it's an amazing tool, because one, who doesn't like to get paid, first and foremost? Two, you get to be around the SVA, the veteran services, you get to learn the administrative on veteran services side, as well as you're not gonna just be working with them, because if you're working for the VA work study, you're working for the school, essentially. So you have to talk to other departments to get the task done. Just like in the service, regardless of whichever one you did, you have to talk to different people for different MOSs to get the job done. So that is an amazing opportunity. If you are successful in order to do that, I can guarantee that the engagement of people wanting to join are gonna love it because it's tax-free, it's tax exempt, and it's not that hard of a job.
Yeah.
It's only going to better yourself. I highly, highly encourage it. And to answer your question, do I think multiple meetings on campus is a bad idea? No, I don't. You can definitely do some off-campus, off-site. That only helps to like see the same thing so many times, it gets mundane.
Oh, yeah.
Versus doing it off-site every so often, it's good. You wanna do it on campus primarily because it's easier. As I was telling this lovely young lady, if you wanna make it effortless for student veterans, one of the ways to do that is if you have a established vet house, hold it there. Or if you just wanna hold it, even not in the designated spot, still on campus, hey, this meeting is gonna be in the court square, please come. You can still do it, have the same mission, just go from it from a different avenue of approach, and you'd be surprised with like the results that it might yield.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Hi.
My name is Bryce. I'm from University of Washington, Tacoma. I'm in the wrong class. That's fine. I didn't know what it was. I just came.
We're happy to have you.
I'm not affiliated with SVA. I am a student veteran, but I didn't even know it existed until 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
So a buddy in my class was like, "Hey, do you want to go to Orlando?" And I was like, "I don't know what you're talking about." So he told me about
How long were
NatCon.
you going to the university before?
Say again?
How long were you
I'm a
going-
senior, so I graduate in the spring of this year.
Oh, wow.
So-
You just found out about your SVA chapter now.
Yeah, so let me back up to the beginning. So when I got out of the Army, I joined college, and I tried to shed that identity a little bit. Mostly imposter, some like, I don't want to be a vet bro at school. I just want to blend in and do my work. And then I changed. I was like, you know what? I kind of want to get involved with our VMRC and give back. And then COVID happened. I had this like kind of taken away, and I was like, that sucks. Anyway, fast forward. I didn't know SVA was a thing. I didn't know NatCon was a thing. And the reason I didn't know that is because no one told me.
You don't know what you don't know until you know.
Right. So my president invited me. I didn't even know he was the president until he landed in Orlando. Okay? I'm not trying to rip on him. I'm saying one thing that I think we can do in our chapter and maybe other chapters can do is, so at the beginning of every semester, there is someone who facilitates like a seminar for, especially like our computer science program. We have additional seminars you can sign up for. And they will ask the professor for like 5 minutes, 2 to 5 minutes at the end of class to pitch their seminar. And that's how you learn about the seminars. We can do that for SVA. Just like, hey, professor, give me 2 minutes or so? Sure, great. And then you just say, hey, SVA is a thing, we're at the VMRC, we have a dedicated meeting spot.
There you go. You're already ahead.
I don't know how active our chapter is because I'm figuring it out, I'm not a president, a vice president, or anything like that. But I want to get involved because I just found out about it, because I just found out it's a thing. So if you have that opportunity to get up in front of your class where you can all speak in public, most of us, right? Just put it out there and be like, hey, SVA is great. I'm having a great time at NatCon. 2 weeks ago, I had no idea what any of this was.
And look at you now.
Yeah, this is awesome. So word of mouth is super important.
It is. It absolutely is.
You don't know what you don't know, right?
Until you know it.
Cool.
It goes back to the whole thing with, it starts really at admissions. Because veterans coming out, they're going to your college and not going to know about your SVA chapter until they hear about it. Oh, yeah. So it really, that's one way. If you want to change that at your university, especially to make sure that doesn't happen again, get with your admissions or get with your president to have them go to admissions and work something out to where if they know that there are veterans coming in, that they get told the information about the SVA chapter before they start their semester in first year.
I'm going to talk to my, if I get into a new class, I'm just going to put it out there, you know what I mean?
There you go. Absolutely.
Just to do it.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
That is something I actually do a lot. I talk to my classes a lot. Greetings, my name is Renee Romaine. I am the president of the Florida A&M chapter of Student Veterans of America, #1 HBCU in the nation.
Good.
So something that we've been going through, I've been with our chapter since 2018, 2019. I started off as a general member, went to secretary, became president. So this is my baby. Our chapter is literally my baby. If I'm not running around the VA, I'm running around campus doing something SVA related. An issue that we have is, so on our campus, we have an Army ROTC, we have a Navy ROTC, and I want to say we have another ROTC, I don't know which one, but we have an extensive population of student veterans, to include dependents, spouses, and things like that. Right now, I find myself trying to centralize everybody in a sense. When it comes to events on campus, our university does a military appreciation week, but it's not collective at all. Army ROTC might do a barbecue. You know, the transfer student, we have a transfer student association, which has a lot of veterans. They have more veterans in that group than we have in our chapter. Wow. Yeah. My question is, how do we glue it all together? The university, I've tried talking to the university, faculty, admin, in order to, you know, push everything as one. Our chapter, for some odd reason, we get the last news. Like if we're having a tailgate or something for veterans, it's like the information just gets sprinkled to whoever we can reach, whatever group we can reach. But I would like for our chapter to be the one where, whether you're in ROTC, whether you're dependent, no matter what you are, all the veterans come here to this group to
Centralize it.
Yeah.
You know how you do that? Spearhead. Start it yourself. Start an event, whatever it is. If you want the collectiveness of all the multiple ROTCs there, the student veterans that are in the transfer, just have your own event. Just plan it out accordingly, far enough out in advance. Get in contact with the POCs for each of the Army, Navy, Air Force, whomever, the ROTCs on your campus. Get a hold of them, talk to them, tell them this is what you want to do, this is the date, this is the time. We would really appreciate, kind of emphasize the heaviness of, we would truly appreciate the support, because at the end of the day, it's all military. Going into the service, whether the reserves are retired, it's still military. So emphasize the heaviness of, you're all one team, you're all fighting the same battle, whether some are done, some are currently, or some are more about to. You're all one team. So get in contact with the POCs for all of them, and they should push it out to their respective parties. And then just have, it's delegating in a sense. So you get a hold of them, they push it out to their parties, and then you just have to worry about, instead of getting in contact with 100 people, you only gotta get in contact with 3 or 4. Let the 3 or 4 do the work for you. Work smarter, not harder.
I've heard that so many times.
Now,
Thank you.
I kind of touched base on, oh wait, I kind of just lost my train of thought.
No, you didn't.
I think so. Just had a brain fart. Yes, now I remember. What I briefly touched on this before, but you have members of your university that may not know that they can even be a part of SVA. ROTC can join SVA. Anyone can really join SVA if it's a student government organization. But we've even at PACE, we've had. I remember having a couple friends that were ROTC, and they were only coming to PACE for, I think, 2 classes, and they were going to a different university for another one. It was kind of split. But even they didn't know, because I was telling them all about the SVA chapter, and just like, oh, like, I don't even think I can join that. And I was like, yes, you can. And now they're a member of the SVA chapter, even though they're ROTC, they're not even a veteran yet. But make sure that they know that, hey, even though you're not a veteran, you can still be part of SVA and all the great things that we do.
That is something that we try. Another thing that we try to do is incorporate our fraternities and sororities. A lot of them have military families.
Any ZBTs in here? No? Okay, I'm the only one.
I just wanted to give a few pointers of what we do. I've done unorthodox things in order to get members. I mean, I get BAH, but I signed up to be a resident assistant, which is actually how I found my treasurer. She's not military affiliated at all, but she rocks the books. But it's a huge communication gap, and I think they don't really speak our language. They don't understand that we're not like many other orgs. We have a hard mission, I should say. But it's challenging as a small chapter, but thank you.
I appreciate that.
Appreciate it.
I would like to leave everybody off with one final thought, and I think this has by far been the most successful tactic that I've been able to do. We've heard many different ways to approach a situation. Any problem, regardless of whatever it is a situation, and every situation has an answer. It's just a matter of what is it, how do you get there, how do you approach the situation. So when I was in the NCC, the biggest thing which is our recruitment, one of the best things I did was I got in contact with our local community. I got in contact with, specifically, the organization is called Long Island Cares. Long Island Cares is the leading distributor for household and food items. They are a nonprofit organization. So every Thanksgiving, even though I'm no longer a member of NCC, we hold a Thanksgiving drive. So from the distros that we sent out, I sent out a list. Hey, who would like a care package? The care package always included frozen turkeys, a pie, depending on like whatever it was available in that season, household goods, canned goods, and just assorted items. All you have to do is, if you were on the list, show up, thank you, have a happy holidays, and stay in contact. It's just creating community ties is what is going to not only make your chapter succeed, is what is going to make it thrive.
So,
I'm sorry? What was the name of that again? The name of the organization was called Long Island Cares.
there we go. We're out of time, but I hope you all learned something. I'm going to take a quick picture with everyone in the background. My wife thinks I'm just down here getting drunk in Disney World, so let's get a quick picture of everyone in the back.